So how many of you in here had this one piece of clothing that you absolutely adored as a child? Maybe it was a, Tyler does. Maybe it was a cape that made you feel like a superhero, it made you feel invincible. Or maybe it was this big pair of sunglasses that made you feel like a movie star. Well, I had that one piece of clothing. They were these purple and orange striped tights. And they were really crazy, but they made me feel so confident. And I would lift my head up high and I would strut down the hallway. And no one could stop me with those purple and orange striped tights on. Now that I look back on it, it kind of looked like a Halloween costume. But I hope my style has changed a little bit. Maybe not today, but. So I'm not here today to give a speech on childhood or on clothing, but rather why my purple and orange striped tights don't matter. So in my short 18 years of life, I have come to learn this one very important lesson, that the experiences in life far outweigh the things and the stuff. If you've ever had a conversation with your grandparents, I bet I can guess that it mainly consisted of what they did in their life, not necessarily what they had. For example, my grandparents tell me stories about how they met. That's a good experience. On the other hand, my other grandma tells me stories about the three husbands that she's went through, the bad experience. But whether good or bad, life is what we make of it. And through three personal experiences or examples, I have found this statement to be true. So my first example is my house. So 13 years ago, we'll flash back to then, my parents, before my mom had a job and my dad worked for the state, they decided to buy a house on just a piece of land, really small piece of land that my grandpa gave them, and they felt obligated to, and it's not really fancy on the inside, but I feel like it has a lot of square footage, and so they were really excited when they bought the house because they had never lived in an established home before, but they didn't think about the monthly mortgage payment that they would have to make for the rest of their lives. So now coming back 13 years later, and they're still making this payment, and it doesn't seem like it would, but it really is always in the back of their minds. And it's something that sometimes can limit them in the things that they want to do and the things that they dreamed of doing. So a lesson to take away from my house is that don't let the fancy things like expensive jewelry or a nice car or a big house get in the way of doing something that could be life-changing for yourself and for others. My second example is the Dominican. So last August, I took a missions trip to the Dominican Republic I was only there for a week. But when I was there, I noticed that life is a whole lot different than it is here. So their houses, for example, are not made of the same sturdy materials that our homes are made of. And big families live in these small homes, and a lot of times it looked like just shacks. And communities are really tightly packed together. They don't have the same technology there that we have in the United States, but children actually play outside there because they don't have phones to shove in their faces all the time. They don't bother themselves with frivolous things because they don't necessarily have the money to spend on them. But I'm starting to see this as more of a positive thing than a negative one. Their life, everyday life, is focused on the experiences because they don't have access to the things that we do. They value fellowship with family and friends in their communities more than the things that they can buy. And a lesson to be learned from the Dominican is that although they still need to make improvements in their sanitary issues and their education, they still find joy in their life there. And I feel like that says a lot about what's important in life. So, and then my third example is my brother. So my brother, when he was in high school, was quite the farmer boy, and I only say this because it shows that he had a hard time stepping out of his comfort zone in high school. But mean, our family on my mom's side are all farmers. That's what he grew up with, and that's what he wanted to do. That's all he had known, really. But an opportunity opened up at MSU to join the Army and go through the Army ROTC program, where you get a degree there, and then after you need to have 4 years of service. So he decided to take that route and step out of his comfort zone. And he's gained a lot of valuable things from doing this. After he graduated, he decided to take a step further and carry out his service in Germany, where he now lives, and he'll be living there for 3 years. So he really misses his family a lot, and we miss him as well. But he's been able to travel all throughout Europe. He's been everywhere, I feel like, and he's only been there for a year. So Mitchell decided to take his money and spend it on the experiences instead of going the route of, I say, like the white picket fence thing of settling down after college and having a family. So a lesson to be learned from Mitchell is not to spend money on things that won't matter in the future, but instead take that money and go places with it and see the world and grow into your better self through those experiences. So the big picture here is to not get caught up in the things that money can buy, but rather spend quality time with the people around you. Take your money and go places with it, and make every experience in life count, because after all, the world will only remember what you did here, not what you owned.
Great conclusion on that. Nicely done.